Welcome to the complete tutorial on how to film, edit, and upload a YouTube video from scratch, step by step. Buckle your seatbelts and get ready, because maybe you want to grab a journal to write something. If you're shooting videos on your phone, or if you got your gear with you, gather it up, grab something to drink, because in this video I am going to be walking you through how to prepare your gear and do your camera settings and shoot a YouTube video that gets views. We're going to talk about thumbnails and doing thumbnail photography and how to edit your thumbnails, how to step-by-step edit your videos, and then upload them on YouTube in the most comprehensive free tutorial on how to create YouTube content online, period. And in between each part of this 4-part mega video, I'm going to be answering the top questions from the Think Media community about each of these topics. But if we're just meeting, my name is Sean Cannell. I'm the author of YouTube Secrets, and my passion is helping purpose-driven people build their influence with online video. But now, it's time to start with part 1 of setting up our gear and filming our YouTube video. So buckle your seatbelts and let's just jump into it. When you're getting started in video, it can be frustrating because there's a lot to learn when it comes to the camera settings and what gear do you need. So in this video, I'm going to be going through step by step how to create a YouTube video with the gear that I'm using, the exact settings on this Canon M50, but it'll be relevant for any kind of DSLR or mirrorless camera that you're using. And then ultimately how to edit and put it all together coming up. Hey, what's up? Sean Cannell here, and this is Think Media, bringing you the best tips and tools for building your influence with online video. And on this channel, we do a lot of tech gear reviews as well as strategy videos on how to build your influence with social media. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. But hey, we're starting a 4-part series where we're going to be going through how to shoot a great YouTube video with a DSLR or a mirrorless camera like the Canon M50 or the SL2. I'm going to be talking about how to shoot thumbnails and go from shooting the photos to editing them, then how to edit the video and then also upload it. So we're going to take you concept to completion of creating YouTube content. So let's just dive into it right now with the gear we're going to use to create this video. So for the first part, let's get started with the exact gear we're using. And actually, we just put together a brand new guide that you can grab at thinkgearguide.com, where we'll list out everything. I'll link to that in the description. But our main camera for this shoot is the Canon M50. And the reason I love this camera is because at around $600 with the kit lens, it's really the best all-around camera for YouTube in my opinion still. I mean, with the flip screen and the mic input, and we'll talk about some of those things. But in the gear guide, we cover all types of different cameras for different budgets, so definitely check that out. But for the gear we're using, we've got the camera. The main lens I'm going to be using for the video I'm creating for my other channel, Sean Thinks, is the 11-22 lens because it's wide, really good for small and tight shots to get a really wide shot, and good for vlogging. Using a Tascar shotgun mic right on top here. A little bit later in the shoot, we'll use this Boya mic. And then I also have the kit lens. We're not really going to be using that today, but we are going to be using our 22mm pancake lens a little bit later on for a nice crispy shot with a blurry background. And then finally, I've got a K&F Concept tripod here that I'm going to be using because I'm going to be creating this video as a solo creator, like many of us are in the Think community, right? And so this is the full kit. I've got an SD card in there, and all together you could pick all this up for a little bit under $1,000. You don't need all of this to get started, but these are sort of like the ultimate kit, I think, to create some killer YouTube videos. So we're gonna start in just a second, but now let's talk about the settings before we start shooting. All right, now go ahead and grab your camera, no matter what camera you have to follow along, but if you've got your M50, grab it. And normally when you'd get started shooting video, you'd probably pick video mode on the top of the camera. And that's a great way to start. When you do that, you can actually go into that video mode and you can put it on auto exposure. If you want the fastest way to get your camera set up and running, auto exposure is going to be auto everything. It might not look the best in some motion, in some situations, but it's really nice. Now you could also do manual, and we love manual, and if you want every single detail to be adjusted, that's a great option too. But we've kind of figured out a hybrid mode for a simple way to do auto, and we'll show you what that is. So we're actually going to start with TV on the top, which is shutter priority. And you can look that up for your camera. When it's in shutter priority, that allows us to prioritize what will make the video look the best. So let's talk about it. In shutter priority, what we're gonna do is hit the Q, and we'll go through our settings. Now, first of all, we're gonna do auto white balance, just so it's quick and fast. We're gonna do auto picture style, just so the colors look nice. If we were gonna color grade later, I would shoot on neutral, but because we want this to be a quick edit and export, drop it on YouTube, we just gonna have auto white balance, auto on that picture profile. And then I'm going to choose an autofocus mode of my face, at least initially, when I'm vlogging and I'm on camera. I'm going to be shooting a video for my Sean Cannell channel of a home office tour. And so when I'm on camera, I'll do the face focus. And then when I'm shooting room shots, I can do kind of zone focus and tap certain areas. But then the biggest thing here now is our frame rate. And so if you want 24 frames a second, which is kind of a film look, you could choose that. If you want more slow motion or faster, if you're doing sports or something, you can do 60 frames, but typically I shoot at 29.97 or 30 frames a second. Now, once you pick your frame rate, and so pick 29 frames a second, 1080p is perfect, is then your shutter follows the 180-degree rule, which means if you're shooting 30 frames a second, you want your shutter speed at 60. If you were shooting 24 frames a second, you'd want your shutter speed at 50. Again, it's double whatever your frame rate is. And so the cool thing about shutter priority is it's going to always keep our shutter at 60. Therefore, the motion will always look good in the video. And then finally, we're gonna go over to ISO here and actually put it on auto. So that way, the camera will adjust the lighting brighter or darker accordingly. Now, the final thing to note here is that this lens is, we're picking it because we're shooting these wide room shots and it's really good for vlogging. It's the 11-22 Canon lens, but because the aperture is f4, it's a little bit dark. So the ISO might go up a little bit high, but we're just gonna live with that. I mean, it is what it is, and ISO is where we're gonna get that lighting. And here's what I mean, is that if you want your video quality to look the best, you probably don't wanna go over ISO 400 or 800 on this camera. If you want to just kind of vlog and take people with you and you don't have extra lighting, well then it might go higher and it's just going to affect the image quality. One thing to remember about ISO is that lower is going to be not as much light being let in, but it's going to be a better image quality. If you can get enough light or you can shoot outdoors. The higher you go, the more grainy the image is and the more it falls apart. So sometimes you need to go higher to get the light, but keeping it as low as possible will keep your image quality as high as possible. And with that, we're ready to shoot. Okay, so I'm about to get started doing my home office tour shoot here, but let's talk about the mic settings last. Now, because I'm gonna be vlogging like this shotgun mic is perfect. It's a $25 shotgun mic, and here's one setting that I love on it, is it has a plus 10 dB. Now, some mics have plus 20, but a lot of times that's too much and it'll make the audio too loud, but plus 10 is perfect. So I actually have the mic on. I've got just the high pass filter, just at normal, just normal. And then I've got the plus 10 dB, so it's cool. And so then I just go into the menu, head over to 8 here on the camera settings, and we can go to sound recording, and we make sure the sound recording's on manual. Here's the thing, if it's on auto, it has this kind of AGC, auto gain control, which brings in a lot of noise and even hiss sometimes because it's searching for voices. So when it's on manual, it means the audio's locked. And so what's nice here is I can then take this setting right here and just get the gain perfect for my voice. And so if I'm right in front of the camera, I want it to be never hitting red and only really hitting that kind of 12 dB. That's our target. So if I'm in yellow, I'm in front of the camera, I go, okay, that's nice and clean. If I get a little bit further, and so that is gonna be really crispy audio settings. Our shotgun mic set up, our audio levels are ready, all of our camera settings are ready, so I'm ready to shoot my video. So a couple reasons why I love this setup is, of course, the flip screen, so I can always get a good shot composition of myself on camera. I love the wide angle lens, especially for like a room tour video because it gets very wide shots. But then I also love this Joby tripod because I can not just vlog with it and take people with me, but then I can quickly set it down and get a nice shot like this. So throughout this video, I'm gonna be moving from room to room, and this is a very versatile setup for all that content. If you're looking for some home office design ideas, you're gonna love this video. My name is Sean Cannell, and I've been a full-time entrepreneur for over 4 years now, freelancing well before that, and working from a home office. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down some of my favorite design and inspirational images and various posters and things like that, as well as my charging stations and a couple other cool features that I think will give you some great ideas for your home office. Coming up. Now, after shooting a lot of scenes in vlog mode, I'm actually going to be getting behind the camera now. And so a quick tip is you can just flip your shotgun mic, so that'll keep the audio obviously going the right direction and clean and crispy. And then I also like to actually use the Joby like this, where I tighten it down and I get an added point of contact. So now the camera can actually be a very steady shot if I want to walk people through the home office, give kind of a tour. I can zoom in. And the one other thing I'm going to do here is switch the focus mode from face focus to zone focus. So now I can just tap on exactly what I want to be in focus, and it's not going to be hunting for faces and potentially having focus issues. But over here, that's also an IKEA bookshelf. And so you can see, I think that lifelong leaders are lifelong learners. I read a lot of books. I love to always be leveling up and working on myself. All right, so let's talk about a quick tip to help you organize your footage when you're creating YouTube videos. So I've been shooting this home office tour. I shot it in here, in the loft, in the other office. I shot behind the camera, in front of the camera. But what I'm considering all of that is a term to remember. It's called A-roll. In editing, it's gonna be the base layer of video footage, and the A-roll is typically the person on camera. It's where my audio is, where the main kind of narration is, etc. And then you've probably heard the term B-roll. The reason it's called B-roll is then it's any extra clips that we would layer on top of the A-roll. So maybe while I'm sitting at a chair describing something, I can lay over a clip of the thing I'm describing. And so for the next part of the shoot, now that I've basically finished shooting the A-roll, I actually want to switch lenses. And so the reason I mentioned all the gear at the beginning was so that we can use a different lens, and that is the Pancake 22mm f2. Now there's a couple reasons to do this, but one of the main reasons is the aperture. And what I mean is that f2. This guy is f4, this one is f2. That is a big difference. What a faster aperture, and faster is the lower number, what an f2 aperture will do for you is allow the image to be better in lower light. It basically is a wider aperture. It lets more light into the camera. And so in these darker scenes, like when I'm filming over here on f4, and remember our auto ISO settings, there's actually not a ton of light in these corners. This lens will make that look beautiful and be able to do better in lower light situations. This lens, not as much. And then the other thing that f2 is gonna do for us is it's gonna give us a shallow depth of field and a blurry background. And so actually, before I finish out this video shooting some B-roll, what I'm gonna do is put the camera on this tripod, and that's what I'm gonna use this for. I'm gonna use this tripod to get some smooth panning shots of the room. Again, this is a room tour, kind of home office tour. And so what I can do on here is this K&F tripod has nice smooth panning. I'm gonna get some smooth panning shots, and I'm gonna get a shot where I mount the camera on here, I'm much further away, and then that's what we're gonna use this Boya mic for. This mic is around $20. It's a lavalier like the mic that we're recording this Think Media video on. And so that way, if I get further away, I can get that blurry background, I can get the good audio, because if I'm too far away from my shotgun mic, the audio is not gonna be as good. So thanks for coming along with me for a quick tour through the Think Media offices. If you wanna see any of the various decor, now, could you skip past these other lenses and even this mic and still finish out this video? Of course, but I just kind of wanted to give you the complete kit that I would use so that I feel ready to create all the content necessary to tell a great story on YouTube. And so I just finished up shooting all of the B-roll clips that I wanted to shoot. Of course, I shot all the A-roll. And so that pretty much covers it. We have the gear, right, the settings. We went and shot all of our clips. But there's one thing we need to do before we get to editing, and that is create the thumbnail. One of the biggest things people miss on YouTube is being like, oh shoot, I'm just gonna pull a clip out of the video for the thumbnail. I recommend actually shooting specific thumbnail photography, and then I've got some tips in Photoshop for editing your thumbnails. So that's part 2 of this video. If you want to watch that, click or tap the YouTube card, or we'll link to the entire series in the description below. In part 3, I'm going to go through how I edit this video, and then in part 4,